The final countdown. Okay, yay! Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, it's always so weird to start this. Like, hi, we are live. Okay,
Hi.
hello. All right, everyone, welcome to another Tea Leaves live show. It feels like it has been so long for me because unfortunately I wasn't able to make it to the previous one. And just in case anyone's wondering, Hillary can come today, unfortunately, but she will try to come. As many times as she can, of course. But yeah, today we are here to discuss a book that I don't own. So, Sarah, if you please, could you show us the cover?
There we go.
Yes, so it is I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. It is a fairly recent release, right? I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly
it came out
when.
in May, I think.
May. Okay, so very recent then. Yeah. Okay, so we are discussing that one. As always, we will start with some spoiler free thoughts and maybe talk about some trigger warnings, whichever we can remember. But I always recommend you to check maybe the list for yourself because we might not remember all of them. So just fair warning. But yeah, with that said, would you like to maybe tell us your ratings, some spoiler free thoughts, and also mention if this is your first book by the author, because it is mine, but I know they're a very popular author right now, so you can always talk about that as well. All right,
Okay. Should I start?
go
Yeah,
ahead.
go for
Yeah.
it.
Okay, okay, perfect. So I finished this one last night. I gave it
Oh,
four
wow.
stars. I thought it was like so much fun. It's not my favorite of Casey McQuiston's. I've read all of their books, so I've also read Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is very, very popular, and
Yeah.
One Last Stop. I loved both of these so much. I also really, really loved this one. I think that this one was like mainly just fun and ridiculous and like so entertaining. I love their writing. That is something that I always come back to with this author is that I think Casey McQuiston is just like so funny. And I don't know I don't know how they do it, but they're just absolutely hilarious to me. So yeah, whenever I'm reading one of their books, I'm always just like laughing out loud. And this one was no exception. So that was really, really fun. And yeah, the plot is quite wild. I don't know if we want to discuss like what happens and do you have a synopsis usually? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, we do. Go ahead. You're much better at that than me, so if you want to, go ahead. Yeah, I forgot that
That-
completely.
oh no, that's okay. So in I Kissed Shara Wheeler, basically we follow Chloe, who lives in this very small town in Alabama, and she is basically one of the only queer people who is out at her very, very Christian school. And at the beginning of the book, she is kissed by her nemesis, Shara Wheeler. And basically, they've always been like head to head in every class. They have like great grades and everything. And they're basically battling to be the valedictorian, which Sophia, you will have to explain what that is because I have no idea. We don't have that over here. But
Yeah.
um, and so yeah, they've always been head to head in every classes, and they kind of like don't really talk to one another. And Chloe just really doesn't like Shara because Shara looks like this perfect little like girl. And just before she disappears, she randomly kisses her in an elevator. And so Chloe is like, "What is going on?" And then she discovers that Shara also kissed two other boys, and she has left them countless messages, like little notes that they have to decipher to find out where she went because she basically just disappears overnight. And so Chloe has to team up with these two other guys, Rory and Smith, to try to find Shara, basically. And yeah, it's just a wild ride as they're trying to understand where she went, and as Shara is like trying to give them like little secrets and little clues. So yeah, it's just definitely, honestly, a lot of fun. There were also a lot of like touching moments, I feel like, and I love how Casey McQuiston also talks about queer communities in this one. They also do that a lot in One Last Stop, which I
Mhm.
also really love. That was also an element that I really, really loved in that one. And yeah, this one was just so funny. And it's also their YA debut because all of their
Oh,
other
yeah,
were
true.
adult. So
Mhm.
yay! These are my rambly thoughts so far.
Perfect.
What
Perfect.
do you want to go next?
Yeah.
Um, So I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by this author, and I gave it 5 stars. I really loved it. And then I read One Last Stop, and I really hated it and gave it 2 stars. So I was a little bit nervous for this one, but I ended up overall enjoying it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was like the perfect summer read, especially for someone that's nearing the end of their high school experience, or even somebody that's like just outside of high school. I feel like would really enjoy it, or I'm sure I enjoyed it as well, and I'm well outside of high school at this point. I feel like, as with all of Casey McQuiston's other books, it was just like laugh out loud, really funny. There were some great one-liners, some really iconic moments that I'm sure will stick with me. I felt like sometimes the plot was a little bit far-fetched for me. There were points where I was like, is this really going there? But it also kept me guessing, which I appreciated. Sometimes these books are a little bit formulaic, and I think that this book like put some twists on like this typical plot line. So I liked that. But yeah, I think if I had read this like just outside of high school, maybe I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. But overall, it was a really fun summery read, and I think I will continue to pick up her books, even though it wasn't like my favorite. I feel like their point of view is like really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I feel like we all had similar thoughts about the book. By the way, did any of you listen to the audiobook? Because I did.
I did, yeah.
You did, yeah. What did you think? I'm just curious, because like, okay.
I felt like I was missing some stuff, like in terms of the format, because sometimes there were parts where they're like burn pile something, and I was like,
yeah,
what is happening? So I felt like yeah, I would have maybe, like, if I had had the physical book and like been able to look at the formatting, that would have made it easier for me.
Yeah, I felt the same way actually. Are you looking for it, Sarah? Okay.
It's like those little notes at the beginning of every chapter. You have like a different note, and like sometimes it's handwritten notes, sometimes it's like an assignment that they had to do for school. It's not at the beginning. It kind of is at the beginning of every chapter, or like every other chapter.
Yeah.
No, it's every chapter. So yeah, sometimes you have like these little notes that they would pass in class.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think it was a fun book, but maybe listening to the audiobook wasn't the best choice for it. Also, the narrator. I think overall they did a great job, but the voice they did for Rory specifically was really annoying me. So I think that Rory, is it Rory?
Oh, Rory. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that might have affected my enjoyment a little bit, which is obviously not fair. Like, it's not on the book, but I think at least the first half I struggled a little bit because of that. Whenever he started talking, I didn't want to listen, honestly. But anyway, I tried to look past that, obviously, because it's not the book's fault. Anyway, I guess this book was exactly what I was expecting it to be. Like, it is a fun, quick read. And like you said, Sarah, I think it has some very moving moments. I think definitely the second half of the book I preferred a lot more, because we have a lot like more personal scenes between certain characters, like 2 or 3 characters with very moving conversations about their identity, their sexuality, and them trying to, figure themselves out, who they really are. And I think that's a very important thing to discuss. Yeah. And the first half of the book felt a little too silly for me sometimes. Like, I wasn't really too convinced by the plot. I didn't really care that much about Shara, obviously, because we didn't know much about her. And just, it relied too much on everyone trying to find out where she was. And at a certain point, I feel like it became a little repetitive and a bit tiring to read about, I think. So I was trying to decide between a 2 stars and a 3 stars, actually. But after reading the second half, I bumped it to a 3 star, because I think it's a solid book. It's fun. And I also think I definitely would have enjoyed it a lot more if I read it when I was younger, probably. So I think it's a book I can see so many people loving, and I'm happy for that, obviously. And yeah, I think it tackles some very interesting themes. I liked all the music references. That's something that I really appreciated. Yes, all the musicals and then the little notes and everything we are going to talk about later. But yeah, I really appreciated that. But overall, sometimes it also talks about a few things that I'm not really a fan of, like the whole cheating plot kind of thing I wasn't a big fan of. So I had a lot of mixed feelings, but overall, I think it's a fun book. I'm glad I read it. I'm not sure I would have picked it by myself, but that's also what book clubs are for, right? And as for books, more books by this author, I'm not sure if I would have picked any of them like by myself again. I think I would be happy to discuss them with friends, like with buddy reads and everything, but it's not the type of book that I would be particularly interested in picking up.
Yeah, I feel like you lean more towards movies when it comes to rom-coms.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's kind
absolutely
of like this genre that you really, really enjoy in movies, but I feel like whenever we pick up a book that is more like contemporary romance-ish, you're always like,
yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, I can see there being a few exceptions, but for instance, I could see this becoming a very good movie. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it would be a great movie, like a great teen like rom-com.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think it would be over in like an hour and a half, and that would be enough. You know what I mean? Like you don't need much more than that. It's a very simple story, very straightforward.
Yeah.
So sometimes it dragged a little bit for me, I guess. But like I said, probably if I had read it like during high school or right after our high school, I would have enjoyed it much more. So we need to take that into account as well. But overall, I think it's good. Like a 3-star is a good rating for me. It's not bad at all. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
And I mean, maybe one day you'll be able to watch the movie since they're adapting Red, White, and Royal Blue right now. So who knows? Maybe they'll adapt like all of Casey McQuiston's books. That would be really cool, actually.
I can see them doing that, definitely. They're very popular, right? Like all their books seem to have like tons of fans. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. All right. Well, does anyone have any more spoiler-free thoughts before we move on to the spoilers? And also some trigger warnings as well, if you remember like anything.
Yeah, well, there's definitely like a trigger warning for homophobia, for sure. Yeah, and harassment, some bullying mainly mentioned, but
True.
And I think that's overall what I'm thinking of. I know that at the beginning, like I don't know if there was that at the beginning of the audiobook, but in at the beginning of the physical book, there is a note from the author with wrong hand, with trigger warnings.
Okay.
So, well, it says I Kissed Shara Wheeler includes elements of religious trauma and homophobia. So religious trauma as well, I would say.
Yeah, I think those are the main ones. Yeah, because overall it's a pretty light-hearted read, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there are any more. All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So any more spoiler-free thoughts, or shall we move on to spoilers?
I think I can move on to spoilers.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, I think so too. All right. Is there anything in particular you'd like to discuss first, or any scenes in particular, any characters, like any favorite moments or least favorite moments?
I feel like I need to say that this book made me miss musical theater so much. Because I used to do musical theater in high school. So that just like really like that part of the experience that is discussed in that book really like got to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I miss it so much. Like I want to be in a musical again.
I know.
That was like a lot of fun.
It was very fun, especially when they compared the characters in the book to the characters in the Phantom of the Opera, particularly. They were like, you are such a role.
And I was thinking about you, Mary. I was like, oh my God, I bet Mary's loving this part.
Yes. I did love it. Yes, it's very clear the author knew what they were talking about. So I was like, okay, I see you. I like this.
I really, really love when they did the like, I mean, we didn't really see any of it, but when they did the like gender swap version of it, like when they like at the party, at the theater party. I thought it was so cool. And I mean, this whole entire scene with Smith talking with Ash and them doing like Smith's makeup was absolutely wonderful and perfect and great. But in particular, like I just kept on imagining them in like all of these amazing costumes. And I was like, oh my God, this is perfect.
I know.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really love also how this book like battled against stereotypes. Like, you know, you have like the typical like jock dude Smith, who is like so much more than what anyone would think of him. Like I really, really love that, how Casey McQuiston explored all of these different parts of their personalities and their identities. Like I thought that was so great.
Yeah.
I also like that they battled against stereotypes of like certain places. Like I think there was one line where it was like, wait, we're in the spoiler section, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoiler warning.
There was like one line where they were like, I fell in love with an Alabama girl or something. And I don't know, like I feel like there are certain parts in the United States where everybody thinks you're just like, oh, everyone from there is the same. And I hate when that's in books, and I hate when people talk that way because there's so much like diversity everywhere. So I really liked that part of it too.
Yeah. I love, I don't know if you read like the acknowledgement, but Casey McQuiston wrote that this is a book for those queer kids who live like in states that are considered like very conservative. And so sometimes people forget that these people live there and that they live in that environment and that they find ways to thrive, even though the climate, like the political climate in these states is maybe not as easy for them. And I just really, really love that they decided to write this book, because I know that they're from, I don't know if they're from Alabama, but I know that I think they're from Louisiana, maybe, perhaps. I don't remember. And so, yeah, I think it's like very, very important that these books exist, because it really shows us that, you know, even in these like weird political climates and in these weird environments, like queer people can thrive and they can be together and they can create communities. And it's also important that we don't forget about them. So yeah, I thought that was like very, very beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives them a voice, which is always needed. Yeah, I'm very glad we read this one during Pride Month as well. It's a very good fitting. There was a conversation, I can't remember exactly who was talking. I think it was Ash with Smith. Maybe, I might be wrong, about what it means exactly to be non-binary.
Yeah, it's Ash, yeah.
It is, isn't it? And I really like that moment because it was so simple but very genuine. Like, and Smith was trying not to ask too many questions because he was scared of being like disrespectful or something. And Ash was like, "No, that's okay. Like, sometimes I don't feel like a girl. Sometimes I don't feel like a boy." And I think it was such a simple way of having that conversation, but very touching, because when you think about it, it's two teenagers having this conversation when they're still trying to, you know, figure themselves out while living some wild things during college and high school and everything. They go through a lot, and I think it's very touching that in the midst of all of that, they have the time and consideration to include these little moments. I don't know, that was definitely one of my favorite scenes. It was very beautiful. I think it was more towards the end of a book.
Around the middle.
Like, maybe, yeah. It was definitely the second half, because that's when I thought, okay, this is nice. I like this. Yeah.
I love that, like, the entire like theater party felt like a very safe space with obviously the teacher who's like an ally. I mean, he's a member of the community himself, but he's like such a big ally for all of these teenagers. Like, I really, really love that. And you see Smith, who's like asking these questions, and he's like very tentative because like he is also trying to like understand himself through talking to Ash. And it's just, it was just so beautiful. And I love that Ash, like, they put makeup on him, and then at the end of the book he puts like flowers in his hair, and it's just like, you know, no big deal. Like, instead of having a cap, like, I have flowers. And it was just so sweet. Like, Smith is definitely one of my favorite characters. I really, really like him.
Yeah, I feel like Smith had one of the most interesting character arcs, because at the beginning I was like, I don't know how I feel about him. Like, he didn't seem like he had a whole lot of personality. But then as we went on, like we learned more about him, and I really liked that.
Yeah, because the book also challenges our own like interpretation of these stereotypes or these caricature. Because at the beginning, you're just like, whatever. He's like the popular football guy, like the popular quarterback or whatever, and he's obviously like the boyfriend of the most popular girl of the school. And then turns out he's not just that, and he's also been in love with like this boy for like years, and it's just
I felt bad for him since the beginning, because suddenly he finds out that his girlfriend has been kissing all of these people.
I know.
I was like, oh God, poor guy. Like, no matter what you think of him, that's kind of heartbreaking. Like, suddenly, and that's one of the things that I really didn't like about the book. There was this one conversation, I think it was between him and Chloe. Again, I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they were discussing what they both saw in Shara, and I was like, this is a weird conversation for you two to be having. Why are you talking about this? She has a boyfriend. Like, I don't know.
You mean Rory and Chloe.
Maybe Rory, maybe. Yeah, it was.
It's a boyfriend.
Yeah, I know. It was definitely Chloe with someone. Maybe Rory.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but they were talking about that. Like, what do you see in her? And what do you see in her? And why each of us should be with her? And I was like, oh God, are we really having this conversation? And especially when they were supposed to be discreet, because I think they were hiding to get into the office. I think that's where this conversation
my gosh,
was
that part.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, are we seriously talking about this right now? Oh my God.
Music, Mary. Nobody could hear them.
Sure. Let's go with that. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fair of them to discuss, like, because they have this, like, I mean, Chloe doesn't really think that she loves Shara at this point, because she's just like so far gone. But Rory, like, I think it's fair of them to discuss like what they like about Shara, if they're not going to, because Rory has loved her for years and he's never act on it like Shara did. So I think it's still important for them to like discuss it and not necessarily like act on it. Like, I don't think they were discussing like, making Shara like cheat on Smith or whatever. Like, I
don't think that was the point. No. It just felt weird during those circumstances, you know what I mean? It didn't feel like the best timing for me. And plus, because we didn't know a lot about Shara, like other than what she wrote in the messages, they were putting her in such a pedestal as if she were perfect. And I was like, but tell me more about her. Who is she as a person? I need more. I need more information. But yeah, I don't think they were like defending the cheating part or anything. I don't think that was the point. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I really that part made me laugh so much. Like when they're like, oh yeah, we need to like get into the office. Let's just go through the vents. I was like, what is going on?
That's a horror game. Like,
that whole part of the audiobook was like whispered, and I was like, oh my God, can we stop? I have to turn my volume up every time.
That was such a nice detail though, because it really felt like they were there. It was very good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. I love that, like, how far I don't think it's very realistic how far like Shara went with all of these notes, but I think it's like I still think it's like very, very funny. And like in those kinds of books, in romance, sometimes I just like love to suspend my disbelief as if I'm reading like fantasy. So I just did not care. I was just like, yeah, sure. She put it in like the principal office, and she thought that like they were gonna go through the vents, obviously.
Sure,
like,
obviously.
So yeah, like a lot of things were like pretty convenient with that plot, because like Shara would have had to like know exactly what they were going to do. So like some of these things were very, very far-fetched. Which might annoy some people. Personally, I did not care. I was just like, yeah, absolutely. Let me just roll with it. Like, sure, she did that, and she knew that like Chloe was going to do that and know exactly what by that sentence. Like, it was just
she could predict everything. It's amazing. I also found it like a bit ridiculous, honestly, but at a certain point I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it, because I know that's the point, is to be a fun read. No one cares if this actually makes sense, so let's just go with it. I didn't like that she put a note on the piano though, because that can harm a piano. You cannot do that. I was like, girl, that you don't do that. No.
She didn't know she wasn't like a musical theater kid, so maybe
No.
she just tried her best.
But that can harm a piano. I was actually triggered. I was like, oh my gosh, no, don't touch the piano.
Don't touch
Oh my
it.
gosh. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't like, there was a part of the book where I was like, I kind of want Shara Wheeler to just be like a terrible person. And then they're like, we did all of this for nothing. Because I like knew how it was going to end. And I was like, how are they going to make this not just the most predictable book? So I don't know. There was a point where they were kind of like going in that direction. But then, of course,
Yeah.
they didn't.
Yeah, like when Chloe gets mad because she realizes that Shara like did all of these things that she doesn't agree with, and then some of them were like misunderstandings. But like honestly, I mean, they're teenagers, so obviously they do like stupid things. I was just like, you know what, like it's fine, she's a teen, and also I don't think that Shara is necessarily supposed to be like a lovable character. Like I think she's definitely supposed to be like a little bit, she has an edge.
I agree.
So, but yeah, I found it like very interesting how she was like this, because like very often you either have like the very like innocent, sweet, perfect girl, or you have the like mean girl, like literally George. And I love that she was like balancing that act like constantly. Like she was constantly like pretending to be like perfect, but then sometimes she would do like things that were not really great. And yeah, I found her like very interesting. Definitely, I feel like maybe I would have loved if she was more present in the story, because I feel like you said, Mary, like we didn't know her for like a big part of the book, and then at the end we got like all of these revelations about her, and then we were just like, oh, okay, so like we kind of understand like why she did all of this. But then at the same time, like, she wasn't like the most well fleshed out character out of all of them. But I don't think that's necessarily the point, because she is like kind of a main character, but she also is not. Like, I feel like Chloe, Rory, and Smith are way more of like main characters than Shara is.
Yeah, definitely. I think the point is to see how people look at Shara and not really who Shara truly is.
Yeah.
So I think that's the point.
What people expect of her.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing they see instead of who she really is.
Yeah. I guess I wish we didn't always follow Chloe. Sometimes I wish we focused more on different characters, because Chloe could get very frustrating as a protagonist for me, which is understandable. Again, she's a teenager, so she will do some stupid things. We all do, fair enough. But at a certain point, I guess it just became a little too much for me. Like it was just a bit frustrating. She kept doing the wrong thing, and I feel like it was for the plot to be convenient and easy to go through, I guess. So yeah, sometimes I wish we had more of different characters. Like Georgia, for instance, I think she was an interesting character. Yeah. I wanted to know more about her. And yeah, I think that was one of my biggest issues, I guess. Like I liked Chloe to some point, but sometimes she annoyed me a little bit as well. So I don't know how you felt about her as a protagonist.
I don't think she's supposed to be a lovable character either. I think she's.
I don't think so either. Yeah,
a little bit annoying.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like she treated Georgia like so badly. Like that part where she just like didn't do the essay. I was like, oh my god, I'd be so pissed if I was doing a project.
Like every time like Georgia was trying to tell her that she wouldn't go to NYU with her. Like every single time she was trying to tell her something, and Chloe would just like focus on Shara and leave. I was so nervous, because I was just like, what is she trying to say? Like, listen to her. Oh my god.
Yeah. See, that's frustrating. Exactly. Like, that's just convenient for the plot. You know what I mean? Like, of course, she will never hear what Georgia has to say. It has to be more towards the ending. Otherwise, there's no story. And I don't like that. So,
yeah. I did love the bookstore. That was like the ideal. It was like so cozy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the bookstore. Oh, it sounded like so great. I really wanted to be there.
I know. Yeah. Who doesn't, honestly?
Yeah.
Always going to the bookstore.
Exactly. Perfect time, always. What else? What else can you talk about?
What did you think of?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say, what did you think of Rory? Because I feel like we've talked about a lot of the characters, but we haven't talked about him too much.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting, like he was that whole plot line of like I had to be in love with Shara Wheeler because that was like the only thing that I had allowed myself to think. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how realistic that was. I mean, the way that Shara was portrayed, like she was, I guess everybody thought about her all the time, and like she was the only, like she was just this like goddess. But it seemed, I don't know how fleshed out that part was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's mainly because he was confused, and so he was trying to like project something onto
Yeah.
the person rather than the person that he really had feelings for, because he was raised into thinking that it's not right for him to have feelings for Smith. So he was trying to, he was like, I have these feelings for this guy, but I actually don't. I shouldn't. Like I feel like I shouldn't have them. So I'm just going to pick this one girl that everybody is obsessed with, and she's also going to be like the ones that I set my eyes on.
Yeah.
When obviously, it was kind of like a getaway thing, I think.
Yeah.
Just because he was confused.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's realistic. I think that maybe like a lot of people do that. Like a lot of queer people do that when they're raised in these environments where they can't be themselves. They just try to, force themselves to like be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
That's true. Yeah. But I don't think he got a very satisfying arc, in my opinion, which is kind of sad. I wish he did. Like he kind of remained the same at the start and at the end, I think. I don't know.
I mean, other than the fact that he finally, got to be with Smith at the end.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Like, I feel like his whole arc is always about other people and not so much about him as a person. So I wish we had more of that. But of course, that's sweet. But yeah, I wish we had a bit more about him as a person, as an individual, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't have as much of Rory as much as we did Smith and Chloe. I feel like they were more fleshed out a little bit.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Do you have like a favorite scene or a favorite moment?
I like this part on the boat. That was funny. When you were like, when it was Shara and Chloe, and Chloe was, I guess there was this like conflict. Like, are they going to be like enemies or are they going to be lovers? And like in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I mean, they're always going to get together. But it was fun, like seeing how that played out a little bit.
Yeah.
When she pushed her off the boat, I was like,
I was like, did they just kill off Shara Wheeler? And then I'm like, no, it's fine.
That would be such a fun twist.
I know. I was there for that.
That was crazy. Oh my god.
Oh, can you imagine?
That really took me by surprise. Like, what a way to end that scene. She just like shoves her off the boat.
Yeah.
True.
It was funny. Oh my gosh. I think my favorite scene was the one with the frog.
I was going to mention that scene before. Yeah.
So good. So good.
Do they do dissections of animals in other countries? Because I always thought that was like really gross thing that we do here.
I think depending on which science class you pick, because at least in my province in Canada, we did like an eye, like a cow's eye. But I think that like if you picked like I'm blanking so hard. I only have the word in French. If you pick like advanced science in the last year of high school, then maybe I think they did like other parts, but I don't think they did like a whole frog or like a whole
We had to do a fetal pig, and it was horrifying. Like I am traumatized.
Oh, Sophia, I'm so sorry.
And I'm like, why I didn't learn enough to like put an animal through that. Like it was not worth it.
No, I honestly don't think I would be able to do that. Honestly,
it was horrible.
Like with no animal, like no animal. Stop hurting animals.
No
I know.
Like the eye was very limit for me. Like it was as best as I can do.
God.
Like a whole. Oh no! Ew.
It was awful. Awful,
No.
awful.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Yeah, sorry, by the way, if anyone's watching this.
They're like, what are they talking about?
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, it has to do with the book, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my god. But yeah, I love that part with the frog. There's also like an infamous scene in Red, White, and Royal Blue with turkeys, and it really, really reminded me of that scene. But
Okay.
like different animals, different contexts, all of it. But it's just like a good example of like how great of a writer Casey McQuiston is, because they can just turn anything funny. Like honestly, like it's just a frog jumping on the hood of a car, and I'm like dying. Like so that's why it was definitely like one of my favorite scenes. It was
Yes.
so funny.
Yeah. Justice for frogs, honestly. Leave them alone.
Justice for frogs.
Yeah. Are
Absolutely.
their books connected in some way? Like, are there?
I don't think
like-
so. I don't think they're
No?
connected. No.
Hmm.
No.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's just like it's just something that I noticed. Like there's always a funny scene
Yeah.
with an animal.
That's good. We should always protect the animals, please. Don't hurt them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happens to the turkey in Red, White, and Royal Blue. At least not.
Okay, good.
I don't
Good.
know.
Otherwise, I cannot read it, so I need to know that. Like,
Oh no,
and-
the turkeys are fine.
Okay. This turned into a very random conversation about animal rights, but I'm here for that, honestly.
No, I'm joking. Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah, but I was gonna mention that scene as well. Anytime we have a cute, like heartwarming scene with an animal where someone is trying to protect them, even in a science class, I'm here for that. Like, yes, please.
It was so cute. I also really loved the valedictorian speech at the end. I thought that was really, really like a really, really good last scene. Oh,
Yeah,
what does valedictorian means, Sophia? We need to know.
So basically, it's the person who has the highest grade point average, so like the highest GPA. And then the second place is called the salutatorian. And the valedictorian is, they usually, well, some schools do this. Some schools like you vote on who is the speaker, but some schools have the valedictorian like just gives the speech. But it gets like insanely competitive. Like it's a little silly. Yeah. Like people like will not do like, at least where I went to high school, people would not do like music or art classes because they weren't worth as much as like an advanced science class or something. And it would like not allow them to be in the running for valedictorian. So yeah, there's a lot of silliness associated with it. When I went through high school, like whatever, I don't care. But I think that competition, like a lot of that was actually pretty realistic. Like people get a little crazy about like they have to be number one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so dumb. That's so dumb that like music and art doesn't count as much. That's so stupid.
It's awful. That's one of the things that I enjoyed the most about this book. I love the representation of music here. Honestly, it's just as important as all the other areas. Like, never doubt that. Please, we need music, we need art. So I'm glad that this book followed a bunch of nerds. Just loving what they do. Like, it's beautiful. I always love that. Yeah.
Honestly, like I feel like in high school, if we had that, I maybe would have tried to be valedictorian. But then if I had learned that like I had to do advanced science and advanced maths and I couldn't do like music and art, I would have been like, okay, never mind.
I'm done.
I know.
That's not worth it.
It's not really. That's so sad. Oh gosh.
Aww.
I also like the part, the pressure that people feel to like get into the best college. Like I really related to that. I feel like in the US, at least, it's become like so competitive and so much. I feel like a lot of high schoolers base so much of their worth on like, where am I going to school next year? Which makes me really sad because I think at the end of the day, like it can matter, but as long as you're doing what you want to do, like that's what matters more. But I feel like the way that Shara, like she didn't get into Harvard and she just completely like shut down, was like, I can't tell anybody this. I mean, was maybe a little bit over the top, but also there is a lot of those stressors, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like it's such a big part of the culture in the US because here in Canada, like obviously some schools are more prestigious than others or more known for like certain programs or whatever. But it's not nearly as bad as I feel like it is in the US, especially since you have to pay like an arm and a leg to like that's
the
insane.
average cost of tuition, at least where I went to undergrad, was $50,000 per year.
Per year?
Yeah.
My heart just stopped.
And you can get scholarships. You can, like, if you're in state, you can get like reduced tuition, but for a lot of private colleges, it's insane.
Even if you reduce it, like it could be 10,000 a year, and I wouldn't be.
Yeah,
Like,
it's insanely expensive.
How much is a scholarship? Like, you can't. Hi, Sarah.
Sarah knows the struggle for sure.
Yep, people take out loans and they're like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. That's why it's so much of a big issue in the US, because it's like debilitating. You never pay it off.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say how much I pay here in Canada, because you don't want to know, because that's gonna make it worse. Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
And then can you imagine the people who feel pressure to follow something they don't love, they're not passionate about, and then have to pay that? Like, it's insane.
And like for me, I did 4 years of undergrad and then 4 years medical school. And so medical school is about the same price. Wow. So it's just insane. Like the amount of debt you have to be in to like follow your dream is like crazy here.
Yeah.
Would not recommend.
Oh, Sophia, I'm very proud of you, honestly. Like that's harsh. Seriously.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Like, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's like you said, Sarah. I also feel like it is a very American thing for some reason, because in Portugal it's not like that either. It's like you said. Obviously, we have some more prestigious places, I guess.
Yeah.
But it would never be 50,000 a year. Like that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is depressing. Let's talk about it.
All of this to say that Shara didn't get into Harvard, and maybe good for her, honestly.
Yeah, maybe honestly good for her.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I kind of like when I was reading this book, I kept thinking like I want there to be companion novels where they like follow other people in this world. Because
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I feel like this city or this place in Alabama was kind of iconic, and I'd like to see how it progresses after this. But there were lots of other interesting people that I would have liked to follow.
It would be so fun to have like a novel about like Georgia, or a novel about Smith, and like how they like go to college and everything, and then they come back, like what happens. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
We should pitch that idea to Casey McQuiston. I'm sure they're already writing their next book.
Yeah, exactly. Are they? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like One Last Stop came out about a year ago, if I'm not. Yep. Yeah, so I think it's like once a year.
Sure.
That's a lot. Wow, that's great.
I know.
Yeah, they've been like getting them out like one after the other.
All right. Good for them. I mean.
Yeah, good for us.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll be reading their next work in the book club as well. Who knows? Like, but yeah, I would read a novella with the Phantom of the Opera musical. I need to read that. I need to know how it was.
Yeah.
Like all the production
was the guy Ace as good as they said he was?
Exactly.
Like, deserved to be the Phantom, or
yes,
who knows?
Yes. I need to know that, honestly. Like
to know every details.
Yes.
What did you think of like the Chloe's like family life? Because I loved her moms and like her cat and their like whole vibe.
Her mom was so cool. When another thing that really made me laugh, I really have a thing with like Casey McQuiston and turkeys, but like the how's it called? Like a duck turkey?
Turducken?
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
The what? I don't remember that. What is that?
It's a duck stuffed in the chicken, and the chicken is stuffed in the turkey. Did you miss that?
I think I forgot it on purpose because I don't eat meat, so that freaked me out. I was like, gee, what am I doing?
Push it back into like your subconscious.
Exactly. I was like, nope, that's not for me. Let's just forget
that thing where it came from. Yeah. What the heck? I'd never heard about that. Is that like a southern thing?
I think it's like I don't think everybody like does that, but I had definitely heard of it before this book.
Oh, so you never tried it?
I have never tried it. No.
Okay.
The South is known for like a lot of fried food and like collard greens and grits and that kind of thing. But
yeah, but a duck inside what did you say? I forgot. My brain blocked it.
So it's
duck chicken.
Is it a chicken? Is it the chicken in the duck or the duck in the chicken?
I thought the chicken was
These are the important details.
We need to know.
I have no idea. I thought that the chicken was on the very inside and then duck and then turkey, but I don't know if that makes sense.
But is it like
the chicken is bigger than a duck?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, isn't the chicken bigger than a duck? Hold on.
I have no idea.
I'm sorry. I will not take part into the conversation.
I'm done.
I'm done. No, you go ahead. I'm having fun. I'm just thinking I would never, ever eat that.
I'm gonna Google it.
Did they use it for like a metaphor? There was one part where they like tried to make a metaphor out of the turducken, and I was like, oh boy.
Yes, when she said that like Sarah is not a monster inside of a girl, but a girl inside of a monster, she is both. And then she was just like, oh my god, I'm in love with the turducken.
Oh yeah,
that made me laugh so hard. It was so funny.
I feel like this needs to be like a Netflix movie adapted by the people that made like the Simon movies, and it needs to come out next year. I feel like it would be perfect.
The To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy also, that would be like, same vibe. It would be so perfect. Okay, so are you ready?
No.
Are you ready? It is a chicken, like a deboned chicken. They're all deboned, so that makes more sense. This is disgusting. Anyway, deboned chicken stuffed into a deboned duck, further stuffed into a deboned turkey. Yep. Outside of the United States and Canada, it is known as a 3-bird roast.
Ew.
Good duck is an English variant, replacing the turkey with goose. That makes a lot of sense.
Ugh.
Sure, I guess.
Gross.
So weird. Why do people do that? Like, I can't even understand it from like a saving food point of view, because why would you eat 3 birds when you could eat just one?
I seriously don't know what to answer you, honestly.
You need to look into the history of the turducken, because it doesn't make any sense. Mary's
also, like, it would be so hard to cook, because how would you get the heat to the inside of the middle bird? Like, I feel like the outside would be overcooked and the inside wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's true. It wouldn't be cooked properly. Man, Americans are weird. Sophia, no offense, but jeez.
We have some interesting things. Oh, man.
Definitely unique. Wow. Yeah.
We are unique people.
You are, definitely.
In some good ways, in some bad ways.
Like everyone. So
like everyone, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Hurt from loving.
Well,
oh my god.
About the book then.
About the book.
Let's go back to what truly matters.
I mean, nothing matters more than this, obviously, but just oh my god.
But yeah, that part really made me laugh when she said, like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with a turducken. That really made me laugh.
You know what? I think I heard that, like, because I was listening to the audiobook, obviously, and she said that, and I probably guessed it was a term for someone who's not, like, really a good person, but you're attracted to them or something. That's what my brain interpreted, because I did not want to think about the actual dish with all the meat and everything. So I think I just misinterpreted, and I'm glad. I will now try to forget everything you said about it. Oh my god.
Wow. Yeah. Was there any other, like, scenes that you wanted to discuss?
I don't know.
I love when they decide to have this, like, alternate ceremony together, like, in front of the school, and then at the end when, like, all of the reporters just run over to, like, interview Shara's dad and, you know, get the story out, because otherwise they would have been like, it wouldn't be taken out of the town. So they just, they go and that was really satisfying. I was like, yes, take him down.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I feel like I forgot some things because unlike what's usual for me, I actually read the book quite early on this time.
That's true.
Yeah, I finished it over a week ago, which is exciting. I never do that. So I think I'm forgetting a few things, but I remember that. Yeah. That was a fun scene. I remember that. Now that you mention it, I remember that. Yeah, it was fun.
I also sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I also finished it last night. I was like building this like dresser thing, and I just like listened to the whole thing in one go. And
wow.
Yeah, I put it on like 1.5. It took a long time. I like lost a piece. There was a whole debacle, but it was I feel like it was the perfect book to just like read in one sitting.
Yeah.
It's quite easy to listen to, I would say. Yeah, it's good.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was in a reading slump, and I think I read like 100 pages in one sitting. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I want to know what's going to happen. And yeah.
And then you finished it. Yep. Nice.
Oh my gosh, did you like the fact that the entire time, like, we don't know where Shara is, and then turns out she was just on the boat? Were you like imagining, like, where were you imagining her?
I feel like in my brain, I was like, how does this make sense that her dad and like no one else is that concerned? Like, I felt like in my brain, like it just didn't make a lot of sense if she had truly like run away and was gone forever.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we get the sense that her parents don't really care too.
Yeah.
Which
that's true. Yeah, but she had to be close. You know what I mean? So I never truly wondered about that because it was the least interesting part of the book for me, which might be weird because it's the whole plot, but I cared much more about the characters' reactions to the
no, absolutely. I think that's the point, actually. Like, like they're wondering where she is, but like it doesn't really matter where she is. What matters is like that she brings them together somehow. So
yeah, it's the fun part. But then Smith knew all along, didn't he? Like, am I missing?
Yes, at like the third note or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the name of the boat, like, was it like Generation? I don't remember what the name of the boat was, but like there was a capital letter at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Word, so he knew that it was the name of the boat, but he never said anything, which I don't remember why. And I read that part like last night, and I don't remember why he never said anything. But anyway. But yeah. So maybe that's why also at some point he started to like not be as into it as Chloe was.
Yeah. For sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Anyway.
I always thought that at least one of them would know where she was. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else, girls, that you'd like to talk about? Any scenes, any characters, any moments? Anything else?
Think of anything else for me. I think we talked about most of it.
Yeah. I feel like we mentioned
a lot of things.
Yeah.
Including
about turkeys and ducks and chicken, but
and frogs. Don't forget the frogs.
Yeah, frogs.
Never forget.
Don't forget the frogs.
Yeah. All right. If that's everything for this book, of course, feel free to add in anything if you'd like. But meanwhile, should we announce our next book? Yes. None of us own it, right? Which is a shame. Usually I would show the beautiful cover because it's a beautiful book.
It is.
But anyway, next for July and August. Yes?
Yeah.
July and August. Okay, I'm always lost. For July and August, we are going to be reading The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno Garcia. It is supposed to have some Pride and Prejudice vibes. Apparently, there's a witchy character. It's an historical fiction, maybe with a hint of magic. I'm not sure, but I'm intrigued. I have been meaning to read it for a while. I did read Mexican Gothic by her as well and liked it. enough to read more of her works. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Did you read Mexican Gothic for the book?
I read it for the Dark Academics.
Yeah, that's why I had that's why I
Yeah.
was thinking of a book club when I was thinking about that book. I thought we had read it for the Thieves Book Club, but no, it was for the Dark Academy.
Another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've both read the book, right? Or am I wrong?
I haven't read it. I think
You haven't?
I want to say Hillary has read Mexican Gothic.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, Hillary has
pretty
read
sure.
it.
Yeah, Hillary read it. Have
That's
you read
true.
any of her other books, Sophia?
No, I knew that I wanted to read Mexican Gothic when everyone was getting really hyped about it, but I never ended up picking it up.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
It had a good atmosphere. Very creepy.
Yeah. Lots of weird mushrooms in that book.
A lot of weird. That's true. Yep. Some gross scenes.
I'm intrigued now.
Fun time.
It's definitely a good book for Halloween, I would say. Like around that time. Yeah, if you're intrigued. But yes, that's our next book. We should be posting about it soon, like on our social media, which will be linked in the description of this live show as well as these lovely ladies' channels, of course. Go give them some love and support. But I think that's pretty much it for today, right? Do you have anything else to add? No?
No.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so thank you everyone who has joined us for this discussion. I am already looking forward to the next one because 2 months is too long and I always miss this live show.
Yes,
I agree.
So yeah, make sure to follow us on social media to keep updated on the next book and when the live show will be and everything. But yes, for now, thank you very much and we will see you very soon next time. Bye everyone. Thank you.